The relationship between Germany and Britain in the years leading up to World War II was marked by a complex interplay of diplomacy, rivalry, and shifting alliances. Despite shared cultural ties and economic interests, tensions over colonial expansion, naval supremacy, and ideological differences gradually eroded trust and paved the way for conflict. Let's explore the dynamics of German-British relations before World War II. Early diplomacy and cooperation. In the aftermath of World War I, Germany and Britain sought to rebuild diplomatic ties and restore stability to Europe. The Treaty of Versailles imposed harsh penalties on Germany, but British leaders, including Prime Minister David Lloyd George, advocated for a more moderate approach to avoid exacerbating tensions. The signing of the Locarno Treaties in 1925, which guaranteed the territorial boundaries of Western Europe, was a milestone in Franco-German-British relations and seemed to herald a new era of cooperation. Economic interests and trade. Despite lingering suspicions and historical grievances, Germany and Britain maintained extensive economic ties and trade relations throughout the interwar period. Germany was Britain's largest trading partner on the continent, and British investment in German industry played a significant role in Germany's economic recovery in the 1920s. The Dawes Plan of 1924 and the Young Plan of 1929, which aimed to restructure Germany's war reparations payments, further facilitated economic cooperation between the two countries. Naval rivalry and arms limitation. One of the major sources of tension between Germany and Britain before World War II was the naval arms race and competition for naval supremacy. The Anglo-German Naval Agreement of 1935, negotiated between German Chancellor Adolf Hitler and British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, allowed Germany to expand its navy beyond the limits set by the Treaty of Versailles. While the agreement temporarily eased tensions, it also raised concerns among Britain's allies and signaled Germany's rearmament ambitions. Appeasement and Munich Agreement. British policy towards Germany in the late 1930s was characterized by a strategy of appeasement, aimed at avoiding another devastating war in Europe. Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain's diplomatic overtures to Hitler, including the signing of the Munich Agreement in 1938, were intended to appease German territorial ambitions and maintain peace in Europe. However, the Munich Agreement ultimately failed to prevent further German aggression and emboldened Hitler to pursue further territorial expansion. The road to war. Despite efforts to maintain diplomatic relations and avoid confrontation, the relationship between Germany and Britain deteriorated rapidly in the late 1930s. Hitler's annexation of Austria in 1938 and the occupation of Czechoslovakia in 1939 heightened tensions and eroded trust in Germany's intentions. The signing of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact between Germany and the Soviet Union in 1939 further isolated Germany and raised concerns about its aggressive expansionist agenda. Conclusion: prelude to conflict. The pre-war relationship between Germany and Britain was characterized by a fragile balance of cooperation and rivalry, diplomacy and distrust. Despite efforts to maintain stability and peace in Europe, the specter of war loomed large as ideological differences, territorial ambitions, and strategic calculations collided. As we reflect on the events leading up to World War II, we are reminded of the perils of appeasement, the consequences of unchecked aggression, and the importance of vigilance in preserving peace and stability in